Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Welcome to FMLFPL Milan.
This Walsh.
What's happening, bro? It's an afternoon pod for us.
Yeah, it's another seltzer pod.
It's another seltzer pod. It's about 96 degrees and humid as ass fuck in New York. So apologies if you hear my AC or fan that's on my face right now, but I need them so badly.
Sorry to hear that. Sorry for your loss.
I guess half the people listening do Celsius, so I think it's fuck me in the ass Celsius if I was going to do the conversion live on air.
That sounds accurate. I'd
say. 96 times like 9/5. Yeah, that sounds about right. So before we get into this, which will be our final Euros pod, final Euro fantasy pod of the
Don't forget the music
tournament. Yeah, I'll put the music in. We're going to take a long break. Like the break, a good old day break. Yeah, it's like a 2.5 week break before we start the FPL preseason pods.
So we're roughly sketching. We were sketching out how many. We're probably going to do about 4 preseason pods, and then we're probably going to try and shoot for 3 extras with like interviews and fireside-y type pods. So they're all, going to be somewhat FPL relevant, I think.
Yeah, I mean, ish.
FPL pod.
Yeah. As we evolve more into a football pod and less into an FPL pod. But yeah, no, I mean, that's the ideal for us right now, and we have the people in mind that we want to talk to. So hopefully it's going to be about 7 pods starting mid-July, July 19th-ish. And yeah, so let's do it. Hopefully the break gets me excited about FPL because I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll probably, but maybe we'll do the bonus pods for patrons only.
Or something like that, yeah. That's
something
an
like
idea.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we had another disaster, quarterfinals.
Turns out bad fantasy managers are still bad.
We're still bad. Fantasy is an excellent servant, but a terrible master, as they say. I mean, we knew it was risky going in, right? Blowing all the chips. We knew that the risk was this round, but we felt like, okay, there's a bunch of like very one-sided matches that, in past in 2018 and 2016, like most of them went the way that they were supposed to go, not supposed to go, meant to go or predicted to go or whatever. And just all of our players are eliminated now.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, as we looked at this, which is what we were expecting, were that Netherlands, Italy, and France would go through. And if that happened, we would only have 2 eliminated players, which would be perfect. That's like kind of how we drew it up.
Yeah, we'd have Jota, Bale. We could afford tons of different players between them two with 3 free transfers. Good to go.
But instead, we have like 10 players eliminated. So that's a bad job by us. So, this is the kind of thing that I don't even know if there's anything to learn from. It's just, you approach the game in a different way of, you either don't use your wild card at all costs so that you have it for right now, in which case, right, the 2 heavily favored teams don't lose, and then you're just like, well, that was stupid because my team has, I just don't need a wild card. I wouldn't even use a wild card right now, versus, right, doing how we were approaching it, which was, not that way, and we got fucking dismantled by it, and that's a bad job by us, but yeah. It was I think the competition was fun to play, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that do have their chip and are doing well and, still looking to continue to get points and, are going to, anyone who has their wild card obviously are so heavily, in favored versus anyone who doesn't. It's not even really close. So
I didn't see a team that doesn't have a chip that didn't have like very similar distribution to us with like the amount of Netherlands, the amount of France. And like we only had 1 Spaniard. Like most people had like 3.
Yeah, well, they didn't play last game or probably won't play next game. Like, people had Alba, people had fucking Moreno. So
yeah, it was like Simon, Alba, Moreno, or Sarabia.
Or Pau. I mean, Pau obviously always just comes in and assists every game, but like all of those players didn't start. So that's another thing where it's like I think
we
accurately
dodged
assess.
that.
Dodging everyone not playing. But Sarabia did come in, obviously. The
funny thing that
he might not play next game. So
that I was thinking about also with our team and just all of the fucking eliminated symbols next to all the players is like we also have 4 Italian players that were inches away from being eliminated in regulation time. Yeah. Like everyone's like, oh yeah, Italy. It's like, dude, what? Did you watch that game? They were fucking on their ass from the second half onwards.
That VAR disallowed goal.
The VAR disallowed goal and just the pressure that Austria generated from 45 minutes through extra time was out of control.
Yeah.
So there's a real chance that we had all but 3 eliminated players.
Yep.
Just Miley, Raz, and Simon. Own goal genius Simon. It's just like, what the hell happened? I'm so happy Raz came through, though, ending our captain streak.
On 11.
Yeah.
11 straight captain blanks into the Raz beauty.
Lucky number 11.
Beauty. Yeah.
Raz. Worldy. Top of the FMLPL league is JDV Cheetahs, aka Verstat United. Good job by you. And then, yeah, man. So let's talk about some stuff. Not that much stuff, but some stuff. Let's just go straight to questions because some people are still playing this game despite us abandoning ship. Abort, Mayday. So Pick said, obvious question, what is the game plan for us who have used all the chips and have 4 Dutch players and French players? Any helplines, you know? So, like, we're probably not going to even bother making transfers because fuck it. I don't care enough to try and salvage this, but some people are. Yeah. It's like, what do you do if you have 5 to 7 players on your team who aren't eliminated and you have 3 free transfers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it still goes back to the same kind of tactic of before of, you know, you want to pick players from teams that you think are going to advance. Like that's first and foremost.
I think so.
So that you don't have to use another transfer on a player next week in that slot, right? Yeah. But, you know, taking hits to get players on your bench probably would not bother with. I think you just want to try and get 11 and just that's it.
Yeah, the important thing to remember is that there's only 2 days. So there's only one sub
captain switch
window and one captain switch. So yeah, you just have to go for 11, I think is really all it is.
Yeah. And you know, saying that they're -2s and not -4s because it's almost like, okay, that's fine, but
whatever you need to do.
Yeah, whatever you want to tell yourself. But the other thing, you just look at this tournament as it's progressing, right, with no bonus points, you know, something we talked about early on, no bonus points, like a lot of very, very, very low scores, a lot of unexpected rotation, you know, which you'll get some team sheets, but you know, we've been picking a literal brand new team every week for 4 weeks, and we've been watching pretty much every single game, and we just like are barely getting like 5 returns in the 15. So, you know, pinpointing where they're going to come is obviously with these small samples, and the football's a bit shit and everything's so unpredictable. You know, you're having a harder time doing that versus like we're used to in the Prem. It's like, oh, City are playing Fulham, like it's going to be a fuck fest. You know, here, you know, we see
that is like a takeaway though that I have is a reminder that one match, no matter who the opposition is, who the team is, how consistent they are, who their players are, is like it's still unpredictable. Because that happens in FPL too, right? It's like, oh my God, City, home, West Brom. I'm bringing in Kev Kuhn capping, and then they 1-1 or 1-0, or it's just horrible. Right. And it's like, everyone's like, how is that possible? Like, this happens every day in this game. We wildcard our team every fucking week. And like, in FPL, the thing that usually pays off is patience, right? It's like, I got this great player on a great team. He's nailed. Everyone's panicking and ripping him out of their team because he blanked twice in a row. I was like, just hold him. Like, he's good. Yeah. Like,
which doesn't apply to this game.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a lesson that I'm learning from this game.
Yeah, right. There's so much more luck involved here.
Yeah.
So, you know, you still just, you know, pick players who you think are going to get points, obviously. But, you know, the low point ceiling is just so loud while we play this game, right?
Yeah.
And you know, just keep that in mind when you're taking hits. And if you just want to have fun and do button clicking, then just do whatever you want.
do that.
Get 15 players, so you have guys
Right.
to watch and root for, knowing that you're tanking. I mean, no one gives a fuck. It doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter. It's useless.
Right.
It goes into the ether after the finals over. Like no,
Right.
you don't like check it and shit. Like no one cares. So you just do whatever you want to have fun. Also, so don't forget about that.
We're not doing a postmortem on the 7-game week game with 4 wild cards, but
We're not.
yeah, no, another thing that we've just hammered home all tournament also is you're going to get the Swiss and Spain team sheets, and Spain are one of the teams that I would list as heavy favorites.
Right.
They're really good. And
Yeah, that
getting their
the
team
only heavy
sheet
favorites.
is massive because
Right.
they rotate so much. So
Right.
that's a good
If you're
place to
wild
target.
carding or just using transfers,
Yeah,
that's
for
probably
transfers.
the first place to look.
Yeah.
Just get their players in.
Yeah.
Because
so
we'd expect Alba to come back in, Moreno to come back, all those guys. So,
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, we'll see.
Porque sí. Or?
Porque
Porque
no,
no.
bravo.
Oh! Or not Porque, whatever the fuck. Bill said, since cleans seem to be harder to come by with fatigue setting in, what attack-minded defenders are left that are worth bringing in?
I mean, this is all contextual. We don't know who everyone has, but Spinazzola is still obviously extremely
Incredible.
good. He's just the best defender in the game. Like it's been pretty evident as
Him and
the
Miley.
games have progressed. Yeah, Miley, whatever the fuck. Denmark, he's not a defender. He's just the winger. You know,
just
those
plays
two
wing.
are definitely the loudest to me. I mean, Zinchenko came in and actually got points this week. It was the first time, but he was playing a little bit more forward than he has been, and he was kind of an added, guy in there. So I don't know if that's a good pick
Spain
against
too.
England, but
I mean, it's
Alba.
probably going to be Azpilicueta and Alba, I would guess,
Yeah.
but who knows? I mean,
yeah, it could be Llorente could come back in just because he's fresher. We don't know, but
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of options. And in England, right? The wing backs still like Shaw got an
I
assist.
think it's
even
just
though,
Shaw. Yeah, like I don't know who's going to start at right
Tripp's gonna-
back. I don't know what
yeah,
system
Fitzreese or
they're going to
Trips.
play. Trippier kind of like pulled his ass, or he got kneed in the ass, so I don't know that
Yeah.
sketch. But Shaw obviously deserves to start again, so I think he will.
Yeah.
Mishka, how many Ukrainian players should I bring in on wildcard? Is he Ukrainian? When I read the question, I was like, I hope you're Ukrainian because that's amazing.
I have no idea about the Mishkas of
He's
what
just
he's up
this
to.
mystery
He's just-
human. I don't know anything
he's an
about
absolute enigma. He just says things that I would never expect someone to say. But
Yeah.
I mean, Ukraine, obviously, that's kind of a silly thing, but
The shout out to the Pod Boys, who Nate pointed out, all 3 of our dark horses are into the quarters.
I didn't remember you talking about Denmark at all.
There was a question on the first pod. I
Okay.
think it was D Silva's son, who was like, "What teams do you expect to do well, or whatever? Basically, who do you like that people aren't talking about?" And my answer was like, I looked at Denmark's squad and I was like, they're really fucking good, and I was surprised. And
Ukraine, Czech Republic, Denmark.
yeah. And then
All in the
me and Nate
quarters,
have a
easy.
derby with Czech Republic, Denmark facing
Yeah, one
off.
of you's going to get to the Final Four.
Horse derby. Yeah, how many Ukrainians should he get? I don't know. I'm so shocked that Yarmolenko's still standing on his feet. Like, nationalism, hell of a drug. Like
He had this up early, but it's rough. I mean, they play on Saturday, so he's got, like 3-ish days rest. He's just, I mentioned that in Discord watching that game. It's just watching him play in this tournament and then just the last like 3 years of his life at Western Ham just withering away on the bench / injured is so upsetting because he's incredible.
I know.
He's just so
much talent.
good, and he just bosses games, like must mark, like must put 2 men on, like still beats them and creates, like he has so much in his locker. And he's also,
He's
also
big
as
Robin.
as we watch him against Sweden, he's like barely able to move, and he's still like
whenever they
creating
cut to him, he's huffing and
He's
puffing,
dying.
like me
I
after
know.
like doing the stairs in my apartment building or something.
I
Just
know,
like
he's
dead.
absolutely dying, and he's
Dead.
But he's so
last season he
you
played
can't fault Yarmo.
375 minutes in the entirety of the West Ham season.
Yeah, it's just upsetting. He's just,
And
it's just,
this
he
Euros,
takes it away
he
from
has
us.
354 minutes. So basically the same.
There you go. He played a
What a
season in a week and a half.
Yeah, he's dying. He just pack of ciggies like a day, just dying.
And he's just going to go back to London and just fuck it off again. Like, he doesn't care. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, that
I don't know.
also applies to Bale and also applies to Hazard, where it's just like, look at Hazard tracking back in the 90th minute to pull his hamstring and like make a tackle and shit. I'm like, he hasn't played in 2 years for Real Madrid.
I know. I know.
It's crazy. But Jeff D said, game theory. I have 9 players eliminated, but I'm in first in my money league. Most of my closest rivals have their wild card left. How many hits do I take this round? So I guess it's the same answer as the first one, I think.
Well, I think so. This is where I'm going to go with this opposite, right?
Okay.
Take hits, but do not get any of the favored teams and go complete. Because for you to win this, you need Switzerland to win. You need Denmark to, win twice or something.
A disadvantage.
You're just, and if you just are taking hits to get like the
same guys.
Chalk team, then you're just fucked.
That's
you're completely fucked.
That's a good call.
So that's where I would go with that.
Okay, so who do we like there then? That's an interesting one because I didn't think about that. So the underdogs are clearly Switzerland, Belgium, Czech Republic, Ukraine.
I think you go max like Denmark. You just have to call the Denmark and Czech Republic game and go max on whoever you think's going to win first and foremost, because that's going to be your biggest differential because no one's getting any of those players.
Well, I think Denmark, people are going to get Denmark, I think.
Maybe
because
Molly's
I think they're huge. I think they're
Damsgaard.
Huge favorites. Damsgaard, yeah. But yeah, I guess we don't even know if like Dolberg's going to start or anything.
Yeah, but I think you pick, either Ukraine or Switzerland. Like, you got to hope one of them wins, and whichever you think has a better chance of winning, I would get like 3 or 4 of their players.
I think I would go Ukraine clean sheet. Is like between Switzerland, Spain, Ukraine, England. Like, England are so much more conservative and passive than Spain are.
Don't get Ukrainian attackers.
It's a better chance to me of that game like going to penalties at 0-0 or something than Spain just not eventually breaking through versus Switzerland.
Maybe you get like Shaq.
Yeah, Shaq and Bolo, Seferovic.
Yeah, and then maybe
Zuber,
you go on Belgium.
It's been a monster.
Zuber. And maybe you go on Belgium over Italy because everyone's gonna have 5 Italian players.
Yeah, because Spain is also fucking soft. Like
they
against the counter.
They concede
so
3 to Croatia. So I mean that's what I would probably do in that scenario, or for anyone who's listening within a similar place. I think that's, if you don't have a wild card, it has to just get wild for you to be doing things. So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You can't just absorb like a -20 to have the same players that everyone else is with 2 rounds left.
And it's not even a -20. He's 9 eliminated. It's like a -32.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's insane or whatever.
Happy said, I'm looking for punty forwards. There seems to be a few. Who do you like? Also, is Kane worth a forward slot at this point? Because he scored a goal, I guess.
I think Kane's horrendous. But,
he looks so bad and slow. I don't know what the hell's wrong with him.
I mean, I feel like Schick is a good punt.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Seferovic, for as much of a fucking donkey he's been somehow scoring like he's in form. I think that's probably it. No one else is a punt. Ukraine, you can't like the Yaremchuk against England.
His passing is actually out of control good.
Yeah, it's really
good. But then
good.
like he doesn't get into scoring positions.
How old is he?
I have no idea. I think he's relatively young. 24 is my guess. I'm watching you. Watching you watch me.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
That's a little
if
bit
he
of
was
a rough
21,
one.
I'd be like, holy shit, this kid could be really good.
Yeah. 'Cause he reminds me of a type of forward that like a Bob replacement sort of guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other punt that is interesting, I don't know if we're definitely not actually going to get news on Kev Hazard, but I think they're likely fucked. And if it's Mertens, Carrasco, you're getting value there,
Yeah, well, Carrasco's a mid, but Mertens could be a throw of the dice.
Yeah,
because Italy, they were a little all sorts. I don't know.
Yeah, they were pressured for sure.
Yeah.
Dragon Breaker, fantasy aside, what do you guys think about Euro 2020? Which teams or players have impressed you the most?
Yeah, I like that question a lot.
It's been a fucking amazing tournament, and I think everyone that was watching football on Monday will forever remember that day of football.
Yeah.
it was just the most incredible, wild day ever of football.
Yeah, I mean, international football, it's always a shock to watch it after spending so many hours watching club and European competition football. The quality is just so much lower. Mm-hmm. Managers' quality so much lower. Yeah. Players haven't played together that much, and you have, a handful of players on these teams that are just not that good.
Yeah.
As we're seeing, like we watch Sweden play, right? You're seeing like there's 4 players on the team who are fucking shit. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how it goes. But the chaos and the enjoyment and entertainment levels have been off the charts in this tournament. I think it's been really, really fun. Way more fun than the last World Cup to me.
They shoot from distance. Like the defending is so sloppy.
Everyone's so tired.
Everyone's just tired and can't track. And it's just like the only really kind of shitty ass game was Belgium Portugal. Like the most star studded of all of the entire round, which was that was more like this is a big club matchup that's really hyped, and it's like
I also feel like the England-Germany game was really bad as well. I think it doesn't feel that way because all of a sudden the last 15 minutes there's fireworks, but the game was really bad.
Like nothing really happened for the majority of the game.
Southgate wanks so hard to that, obviously.
But the other games were just like a billion goals, maximum chaos, maximum drama, and it was fucking incredible. So it's been great.
Yeah. So what about some players? I mean, I mentioned Yaremchuk. He's definitely someone that I don't think I've seen Ghent play.
I had never heard of him before.
I just read about him that he was like Ukrainian, blah, blah, blah.
Prep.
But I never saw him.
Yeah. I mean, clearly Spinazzola. I mean, he's just really fucking good. It's sad
he's going to really flourish under Moo.
Yeah, it's sad that he's going to play left center back under Moo and never be allowed to cross the halfway line. That sucks for him. But who else? I mean,
Zuber is
Zuber's been good.
He's been playing really well.
Damsgaard, of course.
Yeah, really Damsgaard's been good, knitting things together.
I mean, I think Højbjerg also deserves a mention. I think widely considered to be like he had a really good season for Spurs, but then the team kind of melted down and fell apart and people forgot about him. But he has even more responsibility for Denmark with Eriksen out, and he's just he's been
getting into the box. I mean, he can't finish or anything, but he's getting in good positions.
His passing's good. His energy is out of control. Like that's been impressive.
Schick, right?
Sarabia, Like Sarabia, I never really rated. He's just like a off the bench kind of bad player for PSG. Yeah. I mean, Forsberg Renaissance.
Yeah, Forsberg Renaissance has been very on this tournament.
Unreal.
He's going home, but he's been really good. I'm trying to think also. I think there are some center backs I felt like I've liked a lot, but I can't. They're not coming to mind right now. Oh, fucking Boyata, I thought.
Oh, you love him.
I loved.
But he only played one game, right?
He played like 2 games, 1.5 game.
Amazing.
But I was really enjoying him.
Yeah. Just some managers I think are as of now coming away really well. The Denmark manager, I'm happy that I shouted him last pod. And then everyone's big takeaway from Wales-Denmark was like he moved Christensen into midfield and Denmark dominated the game from that point on and fucked them. And I was like, he's good. And he did a really good thing that international managers usually don't do.
Yeah, adjust.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean,
there's some good Austrian players too, right? Sabitzer's been playing really well. His engine's also been very impressive. He's been all over the place. I mean, I don't think he scored a goal, but he's been one of the better players I've seen.
Giraffe man, Sasa's header was like the sickest header I've ever seen in my life. I was thinking about like if Giroud scored that header, it would just be world renowned best header of all time. That was a
fucked up header.
Insane.
It's even more impressive based on how tall he is and how like he got his body
how
shaped
far
down. Like
from the ground he is.
Yeah, it's just it was something.
Yeah, like he's 23 and just had his first season starting regularly in the Bundesliga and scored 16 goals. Like that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he looks a great player right now, but he has something that you can't teach, which are his measurables. So maybe, you get him in a room with Mark Hughes and you get something out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Wood.
I don't know. Yeah.
Back up. And there's also Renato I wanted to mention too, who just
good shout.
Disappeared for 4 years. I mean, he supposedly had a really good season this season, but the years before that, since Euro 2016, he was like just bad and just didn't really do anything or didn't develop as quickly as people thought. Maybe is really what it was.
He's been at Monaco, right?
I think he was at. Well, he was at Bayern and then Swansea, and then I think he was at Lille this year. Let me see. Oh, we're both looking it up. Yeah, Lille. Past 2 years. And apparently it was really good this year.
They won the fucking thing this year,
helped them win the title, yeah. But he just looks unreal again, and he's still only 23. Liverpool are looking at him. Other teams are looking at him for a good reason.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, that's some guys.
All right, that's it. Some guys. Got some names in there.
And then can I get a hell yes at best teams to load up on, which I think we already
we covered. I mean, you got the heavy favorites and then, whatever. How do you see the Belgium-Italy game? Because I think that's, the most tight, interesting one, other than Czech Republic, Denmark, which is also going to be a tight one, but, it just doesn't have a clear favorite.
I think Italy will be favored and should be favored and are a much better team, I think.
Okay. So you think that the wobble's behind them and he'll probably make a couple changes and they should be able to... I bet Belgium, it's also going to matter if they have Kev. I don't think it matters as much if they have Hazard, but I think it matters more. I just don't think it's like, that much of a loss to not have Hazard given the rest of the team. But if they don't have Kevin, I think that's going to be a difficult one because Tielemans... when we saw him play like the game and a half without Kev, it's just like it's a lot slower. It's a lot worse.
Again, it's like I just don't understand. Like Roberto Martinez is clearly like, this kind of worked back three situation for the past tournament, so I'm gonna just do it again because it kind of works. But like, I don't really see the argument to doing it, and they're so open in midfield. Like Witsel isn't Conte. He's good, but like he's not like we gobble everything up, make every attack. Yeah. There and Tielemans he doesn't really do that much defensive work at all.
He doesn't even tackle. Dendoncker can't move. He's not an option.
And like when Kev plays midfield, they're basically asking him to do all of the defensive running and pressing and all that shit, and be Kev going passing. Forward. Yeah, it's just like they need a third midfielder, and they're. I mean, they did nothing versus Portugal. Yeah, absolutely nothing.
Which is similar to kind of how they've been going through group, I think. I don't feel like they've really been creating or looking good at all. They just have really good players, and they've been kind of possessing the ball a bit. But they're not threatening, and they're not like putting forward barrages of attacks.
Compared to Italy, who, they had a shaky 45 minutes or so, but are clearly like very well-drilled, have like... organized. They have a way to attack. They have a way to defend. They have cover in the places where they're sending guys forward. Like, I just feel like they're just gonna manhandle them. But that's my feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I feel like that the difference in quality is enough, and like you said, I think the plan matters. We've seen Italy like passing triangle it through rip through teams. Yeah, it's just we don't know, right? That. It did seem like there was a very mental fragility without old man Chiellini back there. They didn't respond. Like they had adversity, they felt they just kind of cowered and turtled and retreated for a long time. And they're very lucky to be in this tournament still.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they learn from that, and maybe Chiesa comes in, maybe like maybe Chiellini will be back, maybe Locatelli. I think Locatelli probably earns a start. And we'll see. They can rebound, but we'll see. All
right, good job by you.
All right, what else that's it for questions.
All right.
Relatively short pod, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good. I think that's a job done. I don't really have much more to add, I think.
I mean, the main thing is that I keep saying it. I'm just really excited. It's been so good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of
90% of the games have been fucking awesome. And the other is like, I'm still really invested in England, Germany. I'm still really invested in Belgium, Portugal. Yeah. Even though they're like slow, bad, boring games.
Ukraine could win this thing.
Dude, pretty much anyone could win this thing at this point. Like, honestly.
Ukraine can fucking win this thing, dude.
None of these teams are the super teams.
I agree.
Like there's no.
How about France? By the way, they were awful this tournament.
Yeah, but then they were awful, and then when they went up, I mean, everyone was tweeting this and saying this in Discord and everything. But when they went from 1-1 to 3-1, it was like, oh my God, France are back! Like they have woken up. They're insane.
Scam.
They're so good. Hey, total fraud. Langley. We want to talk about stocks dropping. He is fucking
Put Langley
nightmare.
straight in the team and rip him off at halftime. That's how you manage.
I forgot to mention this
that was
also
an insane thing.
Is like it's kind of like all the managers that we've been like completely shitting on, not just us, a lot of people. Like Santos, like Deschamps, like Roberto Martinez. I'm just like De Boer.
Yeah.
They all kind of got theirs, like.
Yeah, I mean, Southgate's the only one that's really still in the competition. I mean, Bobby Mart's still in there.
Southgate, yeah, he is, but I think he'll get eliminated. But Southgate, I always held above these other ones, even though he's boring and conservative. I'm not like he's fucking terrible and stupid. Whereas, like, you look at France's talent and group of players, and you're like, I'm just not sure that this is the best way to deploy them. You look at, like...
Well, it's the same thing. I mean, I think that's a similar argument waged against Southgate.
Except they
look at his
clean
they've
every
been winning.
game.
Yeah, they've been cleaning and winning. I think they just apply it in different ways.
Yeah, I think England have a much more like defined way to defend.
Yeah, we play
and
with
control.
8 defenders, and we hope to score a goal. If not, we go to extra time.
Whereas France just list all those guys on the team sheet, but don't really have a plan.
They look like they've never played together before somehow, even though they've all played many tournaments together. It's crazy. Well, you also have to take the France thing too. Mbappe.
Not his tournament.
He had
Not
the
his
worst.
tournament.
He had the worst tournament of anyone in this tournament, probably based on the expectation level to him, plus the amount of chances that he actually had and did not convert was just.
He just had a rough
actually
one.
out of. He could have had 6 goals this tournament. He has fucking 0.
Yep.
And to miss the penal and
which I called,
be
by the
eliminated.
way.
Yes, and. That's a rough one for you, Mr. Mbappe. I mean, you're obviously a fantasy fraud. He's in the fraudulent zone with fraud Lewandowski, I think. I've been saying this since we started frauding.
Ronaldo, too. Like, get out of here.
Even though he had so many goals. God
I know, but fraudulent when we owned them. Lewandowski scored goals, too. And Rabiot at left wing back and just, you know.
He's just like, how can I put a team forward that can lose, and he finds a way.
He finds a way.
The
thing,
and
that
don't
is
forget
most
the Switzerland though.
staggering.
You mentioned going 1-1 to 3-1. They should have been 2-0 down. Like Rickrod gave them the game, missing a penal in that moment.
You saw the Swiss fan, right? The one who was crying. Oh my God! For people who didn't see it, there's this Swiss fan with the bucket hat, absolutely gushing in tears after the Rickrod missed pen, and then fast forward to equalizing 3-3. His shirt's off, his hat's off, his sunglasses are off, and he's just Game of Thrones screaming his fucking face off. It's the best thing ever.
And he's so good. So all right, I think that we could probably wrap it.
Yeah,
there, right?
We got new signups. Makes sense. We're taking a break. Euros fantasy. Rest in peace. Any last words from you, brother, before the break?
I'll see you tomorrow plus 2 weeks or something.
Yeah, see you tomorrow plus 2.5 weeks. Check us out at fmlpl.com. Follow us on Twitter at fmlpl. Support patreon.com/fmlpl. Subscribe, rate, review, and cheers.